Canine Corner, the show that helps you and your dog become better friends. I'm Christy Wilcox, and today I'm with Sue Doyle from Barkbusters Home Dog Training. She's going to answer your email question. Shay is with a company called SoTech. They create special ops gear for dogs. And we also have Megan, who went to the American Cancer Society Bark for Life event. But first, I'm with Nancy from Perfect Pet Rescue. Okay, so I'm here with Nancy Sarnoff from Perfect Pet Rescue. Tell me, how long has your rescue been around?
We have been doing this for almost 20 years. And
20 years, that's very dedicated.
Yeah, I would say so. And we have placed almost 9,000 dogs.
9,000 dogs. That is you have to take a little pride in that.
I do, but I'm getting a little burned out.
There's a lot of dogs out there to rescue.
Yes, there are. And it's usually not the dogs that bother us, it's the people.
It's funny you should say that. I can't tell you how many times I hear this over and over. It's the people that need to be trained, not the dogs.
It's true.
Yeah. So tell me about this guy here. His name is Houston, right?
His name is Houston, and he came from a county shelter in Downey.
How old is he?
He's about 2 years old.
2 years old.
You can usually tell by their teeth.
Okay.
And when we get the dogs, usually they are spayed or neutered. We won't let them go to their homes unless they are.
Now tell me, Houston has a problem here. What's going on?
Well, we noticed that he was limping, and we checked everything. And what we found is that he could be allergic. And we think maybe he's allergic to grass because he chews his paw.
Okay, so what kind of family would he be good in? Is he good with kids, cats?
He would be good in any situation except with cats.
Okay, so no cats.
No, not unless they don't want their cat anymore. But I think that...
we don't want to exchange one for the other.
No, we certainly don't. He's great with kids, and he's great with other dogs. This is little Levi, and we think he's a Shih Tzu mix.
Okay.
Maybe with a little poodle, which is terrific.
He has little fluffy paws.
He won't shed. And
shedding is perfect for some people.
Yeah, and he would be fine in an apartment.
Okay.
With maybe an older couple.
Okay, that's great.
He does like other dogs, but I doubt whether we would place him with a family that had young children.
Okay, so no young children, preferably. And how old is he?
Between 2 and 3 years old.
Now, do you know if he's had any training or not?
We do think that he's potty trained, but we never guarantee.
Okay.
And the reason we think this is his run is always clean till we take him out.
Oh, okay, great.
So that's a plus.
Okay, so next we found my twin. Her name is Shammy.
Correct.
And we match here hair-wise, although I think I might have more hair than she does. I don't know. But you said she didn't always look this way.
No, when she was at the shelter, she was filthy dirty.
Okay.
Almost gray.
Oh, wow. Okay, so she's so affectionate. I can't believe. What kind of breed?
We think she's a spaniel mix of some sort.
And how old is she?
3, maybe.
3, okay.
And she definitely had a litter.
Oh, she did, okay.
Oh, yes. And this is one of the dogs that was going to be euthanized because she really didn't show well at the shelter.
Okay.
She would be in the back in a corner shaking. She can go to any family. She can go to an older couple. She can go to a couple that have children. She can go to a family that has other dogs. We cat tested her, and she was kind of afraid.
Okay.
So luckily at our facility, they have a cat room where we can take the dogs in and say, hey, there's some dogs that will rush the gate to the cats, but she backed away.
So we have Georgia here. Tell me a little bit about Georgia.
Georgia came from another county shelter. She is a terrier. She will shed a little bit.
Okay. I can. She's a long-haired, little wire hair. So.
But I also think once she gets into her forever home with good nutrition and vitamins, that will change. I think her hair will be fuller.
Okay.
And but still, there will be a little shedding.
Okay. And how old is she?
She's about 2 or 3 years old.
2 or 3 years old. And what kind of family do you think she'd be good in?
She would be good in any kind of situation. She loves kids. She likes other dogs. I just wouldn't put her with cats.
Exercise?
She needs exercise. They can play ball with her out in the yard or take her for hikes. She would be just fine.
Okay, so the last two we're going to talk about are Clementine and Austin. They already were adopted last night, but I thought they had a really cute story.
They do have a cute story. Yeah. Clementine was hit by a car twice at the Baldwin Park, and nobody would take her because they didn't have the money to do the surgery, and I said, yes, I would. And Austin came from another shelter, and when Clemmy came back to us with the big cast on her foot, we put Austin in with her to keep her company, and they have been inseparable since.
You have a mobile rescue. Tell me a little bit about where we can find you.
We are Saturday and Sundays on 15th Street in Montana in Santa Monica.
Okay.
We're there Saturdays from 10 to 2:30.
Okay.
And Sundays from 10:30 to 2. And the dogs are all outside on the grass, and it's really a lovely setting.
Okay, wonderful. So if you're interested in adopting a pet from Perfect Pet Rescue, here's their information.
For more information about these dogs, call us at Canine Corner, 310-618-5762, or you can always email us at caninecorner@torranceca.gov, or you can contact Perfect Pet Rescue at 310-726-3731, or catch them online at perfectpetrescue.org.
Well, we certainly hope that they all find loving families really soon, and I'm here with Nancy Hoffman. You have one last brilliant story to tell me about this guy right here.
Well, this guy right here was a Perfect Pet Rescue dog too, and I volunteer for Perfect Pet, and he was found on the street with 2 other dogs, and they found the owner, called the owner to come and get the dogs, and they would not pay to get the 3rd dog, which was this dog.
Unfortunate, right?
Yes, very unfortunate, but it was very fortunate for me.
Yep.
And so Nancy Sarnoff, who runs Perfect Pet Rescue, found him, brought him to us, and I got to see him the very first day, and I said, that's the dog for me.
So Nancy, thanks for sharing your story. I always love to hear great adoption stories, and it looks like after the break you're gonna have to stick around because I'm with Sue Doyle from Bark Busters, and we're gonna get to see some tactical gear that is made for dogs.
I believe that home is where your pet is. That loving an animal means never giving up on them, never letting them go.
I believe that when you adopt an animal from a shelter, you're saving not only one, but many lives.
And that when you spay or neuter your dogs and cats, you help decrease the number of homeless animals.
That it's time we do all we can to save the lives of homeless animals who are counting on us, because every dog and cat deserves a place to call home.
I believe that I found my best friend in a shelter, and that you can too.
We believe that together with Best Friends Animal Society,
we can bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets.
please visit our website at ambassadors.bestfriends.org to find out more.
Welcome back to Canine Corner, and I'm here with Sue Doyle, who is from Bark Busters Home Dog Training, and I've received many emails lately, and I thought she would be the perfect person to answer some of those emails, so I'm going to get right to it. And the first email comes from Terry. She says, my Yorkie poo has completely been potty trained for the last 2 years, but for some reason last week she started pooping in the house. Why is she doing this?
Well, don't worry, Terry, because that is probably more common than you think. And one of the reasons dogs would tend to do that is that there's been some sort of disruption in their pack, which is your household. It could be something like the kids going back to school after being home all summer, or it could be that an elderly relative is moving into your household, or perhaps an illness in the family. So the dog is a little unclear as to what's happening with the pack. They're sensitive to that. So she's acting out a little bit. And another reason is that she could be going through her adolescent period, and dogs at that time want to push the envelope. They want to say, hey, I'm claiming this for myself. I'm going to claim this living room, just like a teenager would do.
Yeah, and we know teenagers never do something like that.
And so the important thing to remember is that your dog is looking to you to be the strong pack leader, and you need to convey, I've got this covered. I'm in control of the pack, and we want her to feel then comfortable with what's going on and that should eliminate the behavior.
Okay, that's great. So Terry, I hope that answers your question. Right now, Shay is with retired Major Jim Craig, and they're looking at some tactical gear for dogs. Shay, show me what you have.
Hey Christy, thanks. So I've got Jim Craig here from SoTech, who through his experience in the Army, he developed a line of dog products that we can use for practical use. So Jim, tell me about your products.
This is a poop bag that slides onto the dog's collar or can slide onto the leash. Well, what we did is we tried to design something that instead of just clipping on with something when you're trying to struggle with your dog, you can just wrap it on with one hand.
This is particularly good for me because I always forget to bring poop bags. So to know that you already have it on the collar, and with my dog, I actually don't use a leash, so to know that it's already on the collar, it's actually really helpful. I see you're really into Velcro. How is that practical?
When you work with military, you have to work with Velcro for some reason. Everything that's coming out of the military right now is labeled for organization, and when you have your dog products all over the place, you want to be able to grab something and identify it right away. So we developed a series of canine emblems and a series of military-style name tapes so you can put your dog's name onto the collar, onto a leash, so you can identify which goes with which of your pets, especially if you have multiple dogs, or onto your tummy.
All right, so talk to me. What's this?
This is a treat bag dispenser, and we set this up so you can just grab it out of your kit, throw it onto your belt, and it just Velcros on. Your hand goes in through the elastic just like a Kleenex dispenser, comes out, hands out a treat, goes back in, but it keeps it sealed so the dog can't get his snout in there and rip it off.
I like this because when I dig my hands into a pouch, you're always like losing a few treats on your way out, so this kind of makes sure it stays in there, so that's kind of neat. I also understand that you developed something called a helo harness.
Yes, they want to be able to attach the dog to the harness, to the chest of the operator, and then the canine officer steps onto the skid of a helicopter, and the police helicopter flies him up and drops him off on the top of a building, and then the dog can do his job from there.
If people are interested in purchasing some of your equipment, where can they find you?
Our website for SoTech is www.specopstech.com, and we do everything in civilian colors as well as in military colors.
Well, I'm so glad you came on the show today, and thanks for bringing all this gear so we can see what's out there. And back to you, Christy.
I like the idea of the tactical gear, even for personal use. The backpack was really, really unique. I got to see some of the gear, and for anybody that jumps out a helicopter, you know.
Well, I can't imagine my dog doing that, but that was really awesome.
Yeah, kudos to them. So I have another question for you from Stacey, and she says, I keep hearing that my dog needs to see me as a strong pack leader, and this actually can go with the last question that you were answering. What can I do to achieve that?
That is a great question, Stacey, because that's something that many of us don't instinctively ourselves know how to do. And for dogs, leadership is reflected in our body language. They communicate mainly through body language. So based on that, we want to be standing tall, calm, confident. That shows leadership. Yelling at them or threatening does not show leadership to the dog.
Sue, I think that was a great explanation, and Stacey, I hope that helped you out. Stick around. After the break, Megan Medic went to the American Cancer Society Bark for Life right here in Torrance, and you're going to get to see the event.
Some dogs fetch and roll over. Some dogs take you to Spain and shopping for refrigerators, help you get through grad school, start your own business, go on hikes in the Grand Canyon. Some dogs you trust with your life every day. Being partners with a guide dog is having the freedom to do what you want in life. Nothing more, nothing less. And with your help, nothing need ever change that. Call 1-888-884-DOGS or visit guidedogs.com.
One of my biggest passions in life is animals. That's why I've worked with Morris Animal Foundation for over 40 years. Morris Animal Foundation is a world leader in helping animals live longer, healthier lives. You can too. Just show your support at morrisanimalfoundation.org.
To help cats, dogs, horses, and wildlife live healthier lives, visit morrisanimalfoundation.org, where we are advancing science that will create a healthier tomorrow for animals.
Welcome back to Canine Corner, and Sue, we've already talked about potty training and pack leadership. We have another question from Mike. He says, I read that dogs don't experience guilt. Why does my dog cower when I come home and find that he's been chewing something up?
Well, a lot of people think that, Mike. The dog is reacting to your body language. Our body language changes when we maybe get angry, tense, disappointed. The dog realizes, the last time I saw that stance, I got scolded. So they right away go into their posture of respect, maybe what we call cowering, bowing their head or their ears down. That's how they communicate. They realize that they've displeased you. Same thing as if you have a dog that is going through potty training. First thing you do when you come home, look around as you walk in the door. The dog sees that posture and says, uh-oh, I think I might get scolded now. So the best thing to do is to remember that they don't feel guilty, but to try and communicate clearly to them when you see them doing the wrong thing. It's really hard for us to correct them after the fact.
Okay, I think that makes sense, and you know, I pout sometimes when I do bad things too, so hopefully I communicate better. But anyway, Megan Medic went to the American Cancer Society Bark for Life. I'm excited about this event because it's the first time it's in Torrance, and they're making lots of money for a good cause, so let's check that out.
The American Cancer Society is showing thanks to all the loving canine caregivers at Torrance's Bark for Life event. I caught up with the event coordinator, Sherry Slover, to learn more about the day's mission.
Today we are out here raising funds for the American Cancer Society in their mission towards education, research, services, and advocacy.
This walk was all about inviting your canine to come stand up to cancer with you while enjoying a fun day of activities in the park. This event also welcomed a very special pup named Oakley, who is not only a caregiver, but also a cancer survivor.
It's really cool because she started out as the caregiver for my mom, who was diagnosed with stage 4 endometrial cancer 10 years ago. And my mom had grown up with a boxer, and she'd always wanted a boxer, but we never had the opportunity to get one. And one came about 5 months before she passed. And the best memory I have is from when my dog was a puppy. She was all legs and all wiggly, and I heard a noise coming from our front room, and my mom was sitting on the couch, hugging Oakley, and rolling back and forth, giggling like a little 5-year-old. And that, to this day, just gets me because dogs matter.
Bark for Life and Oakley showed how even if you are sick, your pet can show you that unconditional love that will get you through treatment.
We don't realize, that canines are caregivers too for those that have been diagnosed or are going through treatment.
Oakley's my hero, and now she's a cancer survivor, so I'm here for her.
If you want to donate to Bark for Life and help stand up to cancer, go to relayforlife.org/TorranceCA. I'm Megan Medic here at Bark for Life. Christy, back to you.
Megan, that's a great event for a great cause. And so, Sue, I have one more question from Jasmine. She says, my friends say that I should crate train my puppy. What does that entail? She's only 8 weeks old, and I don't think it's humane to confine her to a cage.
Well, and Jasmine, we don't want to confine her to a cage too long, but the crate has some real value. One is for potty training. You want the crate to be small enough that they don't feel comfortable toileting there. But then your responsibility is to make sure you let her out of the crate every few hours, depending on her size and age, and then take her out for toileting. That's how she learns to hold her bladder and then where she needs to go. And the other great thing about the crate is that the dog needs a place where it can feel comfortable, and that's its crate.
I appreciate you joining us, and after the break, we're going to show off your dog and its tricks a little bit, right?
That sounds good to me. He's been waiting.
He has been waiting very patiently, I have to say. So stick around.
I am Joan Rivers with an important announcement. Getting old is horrible, okay? Horrible.
You're not old. I mean, you're older, but you're not old.
You want to see old?
Oh, God.
Yes. Grow up, for goodness sakes. The last man to hit on me was an undertaker. I know where
You know,
I am.
I don't want to talk about
Well,
this,
you're going to
Mom.
have to talk about it. It's the future. It's coming right at us. And I'm not worried about dying. It's getting there. I mean, heaven is going to be fabulous. It's going to be a giant shopping mall, and there's going to be 20% off on everything except for me, 44.
You know, you're doing jokes, and I'm just not ready.
Well, you have to be ready. You have to listen to me. Look, there are things to discuss. They're going to be my needs. They're going to be my wants.
You know, Mom, I don't want to hear this. I just don't want to hear this. La, la, la,
Don't
la.
give me la, 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 la,
I
la,
don't.
la.
I can't. I can't do
Talk
this.
to your family about aging, even
No.
if they're not ready to listen. Come on, listen to me. Listen to me.
For the first time?
Yes, for the first time.
No matter who you are, it's not easy talking about aging. For help, go to voa.org/talk. A message from Volunteers of America.
Welcome back to Canine Corner, and before we wrap things up, we're going to get to see Sue and her dog Kieran do a few tricks. But first, you were polite enough to answer all those questions. We haven't heard much about you and your training. How long have you been doing this for?
Well, first of all, it was my pleasure to answer the questions for all of you. And I've been training with Barkbusters for about 3 years. I was initially a client, and I had hired the trainer for the South Bay area to help me with my little Welsh Terrier here, Kieran.
Was he misbehaving?
He certainly was, and I thought I was a pretty savvy dog owner, but I could not solve the problem. So when the trainer for the South Bay moved back to her home state, I took over her territory. Went back to Barkbusters in Denver to our training academy, learned the techniques, and then, as I said, I've been training here in the South Bay for 3 years.
Wow, okay. So Kieran does some tricks, is that right?
Yes, he does. And typically with Barkbusters training, we don't use treats when we train. We want the dog to obey us out of respect for us, and we want them to be really solid on certain obedience behaviors, stay and coming when called, for instance. But when they do tricks, they're sort of going above and beyond what a dog would really do.
Yes.
So I think they should get paid. And
he's deserving. Plus, he's been very patient today with us.
Yes, he has. Kieran, can you do some tricks for us? How about a spin? Good boy. Go through. Good boy.
He even jumps through the hoop.
Very nice. Over. Oh, very good.
Now, how did you teach him to do some of these?
With treats. I would, for the jumping through the hoop, I would use a small hula hoop, leave it on the ground, toss the treat through, and for the jumping over, put the treat on the other side. If you put a stick or the hoop between a narrow doorway, he has to go through there to get the treat.
Kieran, you did a great job. Thank you, buddy, for being so good for us today. And Sue, thanks for joining us today.
You're so
I love
welcome.
seeing everything. Now, if someone wants to get a hold of you, this information is very important because you service the areas of Torrance and where else?
I do the entire South Bay. Okay. From the Westchester area, Palos Verdes, out towards Carson, Lomita, San Pedro. But we have Barkbuster trainers all over the United States.
Perfect. Okay, so if you'd like to have Sue's information, here we go.
You can contact Sue Doyle at 310-750-7772 or call Barkbusters at 877-500-BARK. And you can also go to the website at barkbusters.com.
Well, that's all we have time for today on Canine Corner. I'm Christy Wilcox, and Kieran and I are going to go practice some tricks. We'll see you next time.